What's up, guys? Welcome back to Country Bunkers Trains. Hope you're doing good. As always, a very big welcome to all of the new subscribers. Thank you guys for joining. And welcome to part 2 of the Lionel and MTH O-Gauge layout expansion. In the first video, we went over what we were planning on doing for the expansion as well as deconstructing the layout and how it was currently set up. In this video, we're going to be working on expanding the actual benchwork or the layout itself, laying down some grass, and hopefully getting some track laid. As I was showing in the part 1 video, we're looking to install a new outer loop of 082 MTH reel tracks around the outside perimeter of the layout. This is where I'm planning on running the new path of track work and where we need to expand on the layout itself. As you can see, currently I'm taking my measurements for the bench work as well as the tabletop itself and planning out where everything needs to go and what needs to be cut and cut to size. Once I get these measurements, I'm going to go ahead and start deconstructing the current layout. All of this is just held together with screws. The tabletop is screwed into the bench work, very easy. We just got to get all of that unscrewed and out of the way, and then we can start building with the new expansion. It's pretty crazy to see now, but for the longest time, this is how big the layout used to be. You can see the remnants of where the subway used to run. Quite the difference, isn't it? I did have a little edge piece in this corner right here, but that was it. Quite the difference. Alrighty, guys, we're out here in the shop getting ready to cut the wood. Please excuse the mess. The shop's a little bit dirty at the moment. For the framework, I originally started out using 2x4s, and that's what I'm going to stick with and continue on with. Might be a little bit of overkill for a model railroad. However, what I do like about this stuff, obviously this stuff has no problem supporting the weight of the layout and the trains that are running on it. As well as, I'm a pretty big boy, and when I get up on the layout to do what I got to do, this stuff has no problem supporting me as well. For the top of the table or the board itself, I use this particle board for a couple of reasons. Obviously, as I always say, I'm pretty budget minded, and this stuff's quite a bit cheaper than standard plywood and whatnot. It does have its advantages and disadvantages. However, I'll take the advantages over the one disadvantage it does have. This stuff is basically sawdust and wood chips glued together and pressed together, obviously. So that makes this board quite a bit heavy. You're usually got to have two people to help you lug this thing around and place it on the layout. However, with that said, being particle board or the sawdust glued together, this stuff acts kind of like insulation in a way, if you will. It keeps the train room a bit quiet. The train room is placed on concrete floor, and I think if I was running standard plywood, it'd be a lot louder than it is with this stuff. And then, of course, obviously, as I say, the big advantage of this stuff is the price. A sheet of this is like $20-25. The prices of lumber have gone up quite a bit, as I just realized today with the COVID situation. This sheet at the moment, like I say, I think it was like $25, and the 2x4s, whew, they went up. I used to get them for, I think, like $2.50 or something like that a piece. These today were like $7. Luckily, I had a couple sticks left over from the last time I did the expansion. So we have this, as well as have the pieces inside that we're going to recycle and reuse where possible from the old expansion. I've got all of my measurements. I'm going to go ahead and start getting them cut. As you can see, we finally got the table installed. Looking pretty good. You guys don't know how bad I want to say to hell with this door and just leave it. But I cannot, unfortunately. Currently, I've got the track set back up, and I'm got my straight edge marking out where we're going to trim the table off at, and what will be eventually be the edge. I'm going to work on that. Once we get that trimmed, we can start working on the grass and hopefully get the track set here pretty soon. Moving right along. Well, there she is, guys. There's the new layout. Looking pretty good. I like it. It's gotten pretty big, hasn't it? I made quite the mess in here with the saw earlier while trimming this table. I'm going to have to dust the trains off. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I got a little shy with the saw starting out, but oh well, that's going to get hidden with the grass. And that got me thinking on some philosophy that I would share with you guys for someone who's looking to build a layout, or someone who's currently building a layout at the moment. One thing I've learned in my short amount of time here on Earth is to not worry about being a perfectionist. There is such a thing as being too perfect, if that makes sense. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to go through life not shooting for the stars or to be sloppy or lazy. All I'm saying is don't sweat the small stuff. I'm sure you guys saw some of the vehicles out in the shop earlier today. I used to be a pretty big motorhead and still kind of am. However, it seems like somewhat of a forgotten life now. I've been messing with the trains so hot and heavy the last couple of years. I'm not really much out in the garage working on the cars or enjoying them like I used to. But anyway, I used to have a car that I had for 16, 17 years or so. That car was my baby. I drove and enjoyed the hell out of that car for 10 years and had a blast with it. It went everywhere with me. Rain, snow, sun, like I say, everywhere. Cross country. Had an absolute blast. It was a 75 Dodge Monaco. It was actually the Bluesmobile, if you guys can believe it. You can see videos of it from the past on the channel if you would like to. But anyway, I had a lot of fun with that car for the 10 or 11 years, and it started to get rusty, showing its age. It needed some work. So like I say, it was my baby. I took it off the road and spent 5 years restoring that car. Literally thousands upon thousands of hours. Taught myself how to weld, paint, rebuild the engine, suspension, everything. It was literally a rotisserie restoration without the rotisserie. But anyway, after spending all that time making the car as perfect as I could, after it was done, I never drove it. This sounds silly, doesn't it? But it really is a thing. Like I say, you spend all that time making something so perfect, you start worrying about driving it in the rain, rock chips, little things like that. And it didn't bring any fun for me anymore. I didn't enjoy the car anymore. I ended up selling that car a year ago this month. There's times I miss it terribly. However, like I say, I wasn't driving it nor enjoying it, so it made no sense to have. But like I say, little things like this when building a layout or anything else in life, don't sweat it. And hell, no one's probably even going to notice it except for you. Anyways, guys, now that Life Lessons with Zach is over, I figured we'd move on with our regular scheduled programming. We can go ahead and get the grass installed. If you guys missed my last layout expansion video, the grass that I use is this Woodland Scenics Ready Grass grass mat that comes in a roll. This roll happens to be the biggest that they offer, 50 by 100 inches. Big enough to cover one 4x8 sheet of plywood, or in my case, particle board. I use these carpet tacks that I get from Home Depot to secure the grass to the table. I really do like this stuff. I'm a big fan of it. The one thing I like about it, and as I've been demonstrating, no, it's not static grass. However, when you put it on the table, and if you ever think you're going to be redoing the layout or remodeling stuff in the future, when you're using static grass, a lot of times you got to tear that grass back up whenever you're doing the layout and replace it. Whereas you can see with this stuff, as long as you're not gluing a whole lot of stuff onto it, it's reusable. And that's one of the things I like about it. And it is somewhat budget friendly. This big roll is about $30-35. Here's the grass fully installed and tacked to the table. Looking pretty good. One thing I do once I get it final placed and trimmed, I'll go along the bottom edge of the table with a razor blade and cut it flush with the bottom of the table. Make it look a little bit neater. It covers the outer edge of the table as well, obviously. This color happens to be summer grass. They got several different colors and shades of grass: spring grass, fall grass, summer grass. Like I say, this is summer. It is a little bit brown. It doesn't look it on video, but it is quite a bit brown. It's not very bright, such as the spring grass, which is what's used on the other layout. And you can see I had to use a little bit back there as well. One thing I did this last go around to help spruce it up a little bit, I did sprinkle some of this blended turf from Woodland Scenics on it to help make it look a little bit greener. And that's what we'll be doing this go around as well. But we're finally ready to go ahead and start laying some track. Well, guys, I apologize, but I got in the zone. I started laying some track and couldn't stop. I'm thinking this is going to be the final track plan. Let me know what you guys think. It's not 100% done yet. It's not secured down or anything, but this is what I'm thinking. Obviously, we got our new loop of 082 installed on the outer perimeter, 072 in the center, and 054 in the middle. I did have a little extra 082 and 72s left over that made their ways into the other track systems. Like I say, this isn't 100% done yet or finalized. This is what I'm thinking, though. I do apologize. Like I say, I got in the zone and there was no stopping. I did take a couple pictures along the way, but something happened with my phone, and I don't know if I lost them or what, but I can't find them. I was trying to squeeze the 042 in the middle as well after the 054. However, I don't think it would work out or look that great. It'd be too small of a loop. Not that these loops are that big to begin with, but as you can see, there's not a whole lot of room left. And I'd still like to get some buildings and scenery, whatnot, placed on the table. Like I say, this isn't finalized or 100% yet. This is just what I'm thinking. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know I promised I'd go a little bit more in depth on the MTH real track systems, and I do plan on still doing that. However, I think I'm going to call this video quits. We'll go over that a little bit more in depth in the next video when we 100% finalize this track plan, get it screwed down, and hopefully get some power running to it. We're almost there, back to being able to run in trains again. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. Make sure to stay tuned for part 3 coming up next. Anyways, guys, my name is Zach, and this is Country Bunkers Trains. Y'all take care. I'll see you the next go-around.